cult members, and welcome to Pop Culture Cult. I'm Sean.
I'm Janice.
And this is our third review. Again, we might have to have a long discussion at some point in time about how many reviews we've done in the last 3 weeks.
It's a lot,
and we're not even close to being done.
Nope.
So, but this is going to be our review of Dr. Sleep.
Yep.
The one spoiler that we're going to talk about right here, right now, is it's a sequel to The Shining.
If you didn't know that already.
And I actually heard something today, which we'll get into in a minute, that I actually happen to agree with, and there's semicolons involved. This is the sequel to The Shining, Stephen King, another Stephen King adaptation, and they've been mostly hitting lately.
Yes, as a Stephen King fan, I am happy with the direction that the adaptations of his books are taking versus
what happened
where
in the
they were
80s and 90s and some of the 2000s.
The dark times.
The Pet Sematary apparently wasn't overly good, but we haven't seen it, so I
didn't watch Pet Sematary. I mean, the first one was okay, but yeah, I have thoughts on all of that.
Yeah. So this movie picks up right after The Shining and gives us Danny as a young boy dealing with the ramifications of the Overlook and him and his mom trying to build a better life, but him really learning to control his powers and hide them. Is that a good way of explaining how the movie kind of starts?
Well, I mean, if you've read the book, the movie starts exactly the same way the book does. I mean, that was exactly what happened. I wouldn't say that he's trying to control them. He's trying to learn how to deal with the fact that the Overlook Hotel now knows who he is,
okay.
and is playing with him, tormenting him, trying to get him to come back, whatever.
Right.
So he has to learn how to deal with that part. I think it then jumps ahead to when he's Ewan McGregor's age. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. He's probably supposed to be like 35.
Yeah.
Maybe early 30s, because it then jumps again
to today.
Right. So probably.
I think it said. So they jumped to today, and I think the one jump, I think, is to like 2011, I think is what it ended up saying.
Yeah, it was 8 years between. Yeah. So, he's probably late 20s, early 30s. And he's just a hot mess.
Right.
He can't.
Right.
The only way he can shut anything off is to just get drunk and do coke and all of that. So, and then he jumps ahead again to where the story, the meat of the story actually takes place.
And I've seen The Shining overall once, but not like all in one sitting. And it's like I'm not like super deep in the lore of The Shining and stuff. I mean, I know what it is, and I know what the two girls are, and the tricycle, and here's Johnny, and I understand all those references. So I kind of went into this movie not quite blind, but not probably as knowledgeable as a lot of other people.
Right. Yeah, I get that.
But with that being said, I was able to pick up on where the story is, where we're going, what we're trying to get to. Like, they did a really good job of explaining. Like, it was a little exposition at times, but it was usable exposition to kind of to remind you this is where we're at, and this is how we're going forward. And then they bring in the others. What were they called? The Rebecca Ferguson and her whole group.
Yeah,
I don't remember what that.
Remember what if the group was called something? She was Rose the Hat. I mean, they all had names, but I don't know that
grandfather.
Psychic vampires, I guess.
Shining no, not sparkly vampires. That's something different.
No, that's something different.
But they were able to explain all of that stuff for someone like me, pretty much a layman, and the whole background of all this stuff, to sit there and say, oh, okay, I understand what's going on.
Yeah.
And I appreciated that. I was excited about this movie because of Ewan McGregor and Rebecca Ferguson. And the trailers really grabbed me. Like, the trailers grabbed me with this idea of like kind of the not quite supernatural, but there's supernatural elements and there's also superpowers. So that superpower kind of thing grabbed my attention too. The way they shot this movie, multiple times, I was like, oh my God, I don't believe they did that. Like, there was really cool. There's one shot when they're, it's in the trailers. They're at the Overlook. And Danny's walking down the hallway and the shot is like up above him from behind.
Right.
And it's like from his shoulders up is all you see, but the hallway's long and kind of like fading off into the distance or whatever, and it's almost like the hotel's like creepily watching him walk through it and stuff.
Yeah, which is exactly what's going on.
And there was a bunch of like really cool shots like that throughout that I won't say a nerd, but I love the movie making process. So cinematography is one of those things that I always talk about, and that was one of the things that really grabbed me is the cinematography in this movie.
Yeah, and they try to make it feel like The Shining felt too, as far as the cinematography and kind of how it was shot. They kind of tried to, I mean, obviously The Shining was in the late 70s, I think, is when that movie was made.
Yeah, I think so.
And cinematography has come a long way. We use digital now instead of film and all of that, but it still had that kind of world feel.
The way they framed shots, the way they moved their way through shots, even though like you're saying, the film maybe is not as crisp and clear as the digital is today, it still had that same kind of, had all that feel, and the music's used music is pretty good. They don't rely on the Shining music a ton, but it's there and kind of adapted and changed.
There's really, it's not music, it's heartbeat, and the heartbeat happens whenever somebody shines. So
right.
So instead of, once he gets to the Overlook, there's the famous or infamous music from The Shining, but mostly throughout the movie it's the heartbeat.
This movie is not overly scary. There is a couple good jump scares. There's one really good jump scare with the lights turning on, which is just got me. That was the one that got me. But there's not it's not overtly trying to scare you. It's suspenseful.
Yeah.
It's a thriller, and it makes you think. But it's not built like It. Chapter 2 is way scary for me.
Yeah.
Like all of them trying to find their totems and stuff like that. Like that really got me.
Yeah.
This didn't sit with me as bad. And jump scares are okay. It's okay if there's a couple, but I'm not looking to go to a movie with jump scares. It's not overly gory, although there is blood and guts at times and stuff. It definitely earns its R rating at times because of a couple of the scenes that how they handle things. The others, the group with Rose the Hat and all of them is I would be okay with an 8-part series of them running around the country doing what they've been doing.
No.
It would be a hard show to film, but
No.
I would watch none of that.
Nope.
I'm going to talk about the performances, and then we'll get into the box office and what ended up with the box office.
Okay.
Everybody is amazing. So the box office this weekend is Ewan McGregor. Give him all the roles. The way he's able to go from the drunk, whatever person, and then go to this compassionate, loving orderly at a retirement home, at a assisted living home, to this essential badass in the final act. Even though he's still just a guy, and his ability to do all that was really cool. Kaylee Kernan, who plays Abra Stone, she's the young black girl that you see in the trailers. She's I've never seen her before in anything else.
I haven't either.
She was pretty awesome. I'll just say it right now. I have a strange crush on Rebecca Ferguson right now. She's awesome in the Mission Impossible movies, and then she turns around and plays this creepy witch.
Yeah.
And so I was just really impressed with everybody. And now there's the box office. Let's talk about the box office for a second. It made $14.5 million this weekend.
It was second.
It was second, but it's still not great. And the viewing we went to on Friday there were still a bunch of empty seats in it when we went in, and we went to one of the smaller theaters. So the thing we were talking about on Collider on SCN today was if this was called The Shining, Dr. Sleep, or The Shining 2, Dr. Sleep, would this have gotten more people to go to the movie?
I don't know.
I mean, we were excited about it because, Stephen King.
Right. This isn't it. I mean, people who don't know Stephen King aren't going to know Dr. Sleep. They're just not. And I don't know that adding The Shining on there anywhere would have helped. That movie is 40 years old.
That's true. And the thing that, at least for me, was there's 860 movies coming out in November and December.
Yeah.
And if you have a limited, like, we're going to all these movies because we have the A-list, but if you have a limited entertainment dollar to spend, you're saving it for Frozen or you're saving it for Star Wars, or you've already gone to something, or Jumanji or something like that. You're saving your money for that. You're not necessarily going to the theater for something like Dr. Sleep,
right?
Or Good Liar, or something like the Midway was the other one. You're not going out for all that stuff,
right?
You're going for the big spectacle thing.
Yep.
I love these things on the big screen because then you get to be there with the audience, and when they all scream and yell, and are jumping, then there was one scene during the movie. It's a really quiet scene. It's really suspenseful, and somebody in front of us was opening their candy, and I'm like, I just wanted to scream out, really, but I didn't. I didn't want to be that guy. So let's score. Let's do a score.
I think I'm a 4.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm like a 3.5. 3.5. I'm at a 3.5.
All right.
I liked it. I would watch it again, but I don't know if it's super rewatchable for me. That's just... And it's a scary movie, so it's not like It Chapter 2 was like, it was... That one was a scary movie, and I'll watch it like this every time. For those in the podcast, I put my hands on my face. So that is our thoughts on Dr. Sleep, starring Ewan McGregor and Rebecca Ferguson. Put them in all the things. What did you guys think? Are you excited about anything coming from Ewan McGregor for maybe Disney Plus, which we have to go order in like 15 minutes? Let us know in the comments. Like this video or the podcast. Help us out by subscribing to our channel. Help us out. We're working on a Patreon. We're also working on all the social media stuff, Facebook, Instagram. All that information is down in the description down below. And until next time, if we don't see you again, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. I forgot what we were going to say.